You didn't randomly wake up with that emptiness in your chest. That restlessness you feel, the constant exhaustion, the urge to disappear, and the sense that no one understands you anymore is not weakness. It's a calling, a deep, silent calling that comes from within. It's as if something is unraveling inside you. What once brought you joy now irritates you. What once made sense now feels pointless. You wonder if you're going crazy, but in truth, maybe you're waking up. The transition to a new consciousness doesn't begin with peace. It begins with collapse. Maybe you felt like time is different, that everything is speeding up, yet at the same time, the days feel heavier. The dreams are more vivid, and encounters with certain people are stranger than ever, as if there were an invisible layer between you and the world. You try to rationalize, but nothing fits because what's changing in you isn't logical. It's vibrational. There is a moment in every seeker's journey when the soul chooses to take a step forward, even before the mind is ready to accept it. When that happens, everything that doesn't vibrate with the new frequency begins to fall apart. But few recognize that moment for what it is. Most call it a crisis, a loss of identity, unbearable loneliness. That's why this video is not just any content. It's a mirror, a portal, a confirmation that you're not going crazy. You're just listening to the silent call of the fifth dimension. The question is no longer if this is happening to you. The question is, will you keep ignoring the signs? That denial doesn't stop the process. It only makes it more painful. When the soul's calling is ignored, the body screams. Life slows down by force. Emotions explode without warning. It's the universe saying you asked for growth. Now it's time to cross. But cross what? The fifth dimension is not a place you visit. It's a state of consciousness. The beginning of this journey almost never feels like a blessing. It feels like loss, confusion, disorientation. It all begins with small, invisible breakages. You start to drift away from people you've always been around. You realize some conversations bore you, that certain environments drain you, and without knowing how to explain it, you feel the need for silence, withdrawal, and solitude. It's as if the whole world is becoming too loud, too intense, too fast. But it's not the world, it's your vibration that's changing. This is one of the first symptoms of dimensional awakening. Heightened sensitivity. Sounds, smells, glances, thoughts. Everything vibrates more strongly, and you start picking up things that used to go unnoticed. Another recurring sign is the appearance of absurd synchronicities. Mirrored hours, repeated numbers, phrases that show up in sequence in different places. Small events that, if isolated, would seem like coincidence, but together they form a map, a call to pay attention. Beyond that, dreams change. They become more vivid, symbolic. You wake up with the feeling that you've traveled, learned, or received something, even if you don't quite remember what. Then there's the heaviness in the body, unexplained fatigue, ringing in the ears, changes in sleep, aches that come and go. These are physical signs of energetic reconfiguration. Your system is being prepared to operate at another frequency. But the biggest sign of all might be that internal silence that appears between the collapses, a moment of clarity, even in the middle of chaos. A sudden feeling that everything somehow is right. You don't know why. These symptoms are not flaws. They are confirmation that you are crossing the threshold between the old world and the new. Doubt, exhaustion, questioning, and confusion are merely the shadows announcing the rise of a new consciousness. The problem is that many experience these signs without understanding them, and therefore remain stuck in the cycle of resistance. Repeating a pattern is like refusing a gift from the universe. It's like knocking on the same closed door, hoping that one day it will lead to a new path. But it won't, because spiritual resistance is silent, subtle, and precisely for that reason, powerful. It doesn't show up as conscious denial. It appears as logical justification in phrases like, "This is just a phase. Everyone feels this," or "I can't afford to change right now." This is where many get confused. They believe they are awakening, but they're only redecorating their inner prison, painting the bars gold so they look like freedom. You feel the call, but keep trying to maintain relationships that drain your energy. You know something needs to change, but you insist on repeating routines that have already lost their purpose. Your soul wants silence. It wants to control, understand, and predict. And that's where the conflict is born. The mind wants maps. The soul wants mystery. Resistance also shows up through compulsive distraction. You feel like you're in transition, but you overload yourself with content, binge-watching videos and searching for answers everywhere, except within yourself. The wisdom of 5 is not absorbed by the mind. It's recognized through vibration. Another disguise of resistance is spiritual perfectionism, the belief that you can only change when ready, healed, or more evolved. But that's an ego trap disguised as caution. The truth is simple. You awaken in the middle of the mess, not after tidying it up. The more you delay the calling, the more intense life's pressure becomes. Situations repeat, people drift away, and forgotten emotions return with force. Everything seems to spiral out of control, but it's just the old world ceasing to respond to your new frequency. You may even try to resist, but the new vibration no longer fits the old mold. It's like trying to wear clothes that no longer fit. They squeeze, suffocate, and irritate. Recognizing these defense mechanisms is the first step to deactivating them, because the truth is, you don't need immediate answers or guarantees. What you need is courage to stop hiding from yourself. It's exactly at that point of exhaustion that something starts to shift. When the effort to pretend becomes greater than the fear of being who you truly are. Feeling your truth doesn't require strength. It requires surrender. It's about stopping the running, the fighting, the fixing. It's allowing yourself to fall into the silence and listen to what it has to say. The moment you stop resisting, the energy of transformation begins to act on its own. Surrender is not an act of weakness. It's a spiritual technology, a turning point where consciousness lets go of the need to control and starts to trust the flow of its own existence. It's natural that until now, you've tried to solve life with effort, strategy, and logic. But the transition to the 5th dimension doesn't happen through effort. It happens when you finally allow life to reveal what it's been trying to show you all along. The mind wants speed. The soul wants presence. And when you stop, something magical happens. You begin to notice that chaos has a choreography, that the losses, the pain, were the only possible path to break the armor you used to wear. Surrender is accepting that not everything needs to be understood right now, that certain answers only arrive when you make space for them. And that space is made of pause, of breath, of contemplation. But attention, surrendering is not giving up. It's not becoming complacent or folding your arms. It's acting from a different place, a place of alignment, not reactivity, a place of truth, not obligation. Little by little, you begin to realize that you can choose your thoughts, that you can welcome your emotions without drowning in them, that you can be present without being a hostage to the past or the future, and that in itself changes everything. Surrender brings a new kind of strength, the kind that is born from trust. Trust that there is purpose behind the disorder, that you're not alone in this process, that there is something within you, much older, wiser, and deeper, guiding this awakening. You don't need to understand how. You only need to allow. The rest reveals itself in due time. It is in this space of silent trust that the new reality begins to settle in, not as a distant promise, but as a frequency that already pulses within you. When presence becomes your point of origin, the reality around you starts to respond differently. Situations don't change immediately, but your way of experiencing them does, and that changes everything. You begin to realize there is a space between what happens and how you respond, and in that space lives your power. The 5th dimension doesn't require you to abandon the material world. It only asks that you be whole in everything you do, with intention, with listening, with vibrational coherence. It's as if every action, no matter how simple it seems, now carries an energetic signature, a vibration that communicates to the universe what frequency you're operating on. When you wake up in the morning, the way you breathe, how you rise, how you nourish yourself, all of that sends a message. Are you tuning in with fear or with trust? With urgency or with presence? With noise or with awareness? And it's not about perfection, it's about choice. When you deliberately choose to tune into peace, into truth, into love, you begin to notice small miracles happening. People who once bothered you disappear from your field. Difficult decisions become lighter. Paths that were once invisible begin to reveal themselves. 5 is not a portal that suddenly opens. It's a vibrational field sustained by your daily micro-decisions. Simple practices help with this alignment. Intentional silence for a few minutes, spontaneous writing as a release of the soul, unhurried contemplation of nature, attentive listening to your own emotions without judgment. It's in these quiet rituals that your frequency recalibrates, and as your vibration stabilizes, something curious begins to happen. People say they feel good around you, even if they can't explain why. Spaces that once felt chaotic become more bearable or simply lose their appeal altogether. The outer world remains the same, but your relationship with it transforms. Because now, instead of reacting to everything that happens to you, you begin to co-create from what you feel. That's what it means to live the new reality. Not to escape the 3, but to sustain the 5 vibration within it. To be a bridge, to be present, to be a living reminder that it's possible to live in peace without running away from the world. And when that happens, even your silent presence begins to radiate a vibration that transforms everything around you, even without saying a word. Transforming without speaking is one of the most subtle gifts of awakened consciousness. When you align internally, the field around you changes. This isn't poetry. It's energetic physics. The vibration you hold acts as a silent code, an invisible signal that reverberates through space and activates forgotten memories in those who encounter you. That's why your journey was never just about you. The expansion of individual consciousness is the key piece of a much larger mechanism, the collective transition of Earth into a new frequency. Every person who awakens becomes a point of light, a transmitter of possibilities, a living reminder that another way of existing is possible. Maybe you still question your purpose, your role in this process. The answer may be simpler and deeper than you think. Your mission is to hold the truth of your vibration, even when no one around you understands, even when the world tries to pull you back to the old. 5 consciousness isn't flashy. It's quiet but steady. It doesn't impose, doesn't argue, and doesn't convince. It simply is, and by being, invites others to be too. And that invitation is powerful. You begin to notice that, without effort, you start attracting people who vibrate at the same frequency. You naturally drift away from places that drain your energy, and you realize that your own transformation inspires transformations around you. Not because you preach, but because you embody. That's how the new earth manifests, from the inside out, one by one. Each person who chooses to vibrate above fear is opening an invisible path for others to follow. That is your mission, to live so aligned with your inner truth that the simple fact of your existence is already healing for someone. And even if, on the outside, nothing seems different, on the inside, everything is being realigned towards something greater. If every word touched something within you, it's because a part of you already knows, already recognizes, and is already ready. The journey to the 5th dimension doesn't require you to understand everything right now. It only asks that you surrender to what feels true. This transition is not a distant, esoteric concept. It is deeply practical. It's in the way you wake up in the morning, in the decisions you make when no one is looking, in the silence you choose to keep when before you would have reacted impulsively. It's in stopping the search for external validation and beginning to sincerely listen to your own vibration. The change so many hope for in the world begins with people like you, who even in fear are willing to cross their own darkness to find the light that was always within. People who are no longer satisfied with living numb, who want to live awake even if it means leaving behind everything that was familiar. That is spiritual courage, and believe me, it changes destinies. As Carl Jung once said, "Who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakens." The 5th dimension is that awakening, not as a spectacle, but as a return, a silent reunion with the essence the world tried to make you forget. And when you align with that essence, everything changes. your relationships refine, your perception expands, and your life begins to respond in a new way. Because you stop reacting to the world and start co-creating with it. With each small choice, consciously, you are telling the universe, I am ready. Ready to live in harmony with who you truly are. Ready to release the weight of what no longer serves. Ready to cross the veil between the old and the new. Not as a spectator, but as a catalyst of the new earth. You are not alone. You never were. Your pain has value, your transformation has purpose, and your conscious presence is exactly what this world needs right now. Don't wait for a bigger sign. You are the sign. If something within you went quiet, became clearer, or lit up through all of this, it's because the message arrived at the right time. Leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. That way, you'll keep walking alongside others who are also awakening. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. Your intention might be the missing light on someone else's path. If you feel like leaving a comment about what you felt, do it as an act of presence. What you express may be exactly what another heart needs to find. Click on the next video now. It might not bring answers, but it will surely open new questions. And sometimes that's what changes everything.